Hi, my name is Mary Ruth Wheeler, and this is my Business 305 Personal Finance Final Presentation. SMART Goals stands for Specific, Measurable, Action-Oriented, Realistic, and Time-Constrained. A short-term goal is to be met within a year, an intermediate goal is to be met from 1 to 5 years, and a long-term goal is to be met in 5 years or more. My short-term goal that I chose was to find a good-paying job. My intermediate goal is to purchase a home, and my long-term goal is to be paying off my debt as soon as possible. So how am I going to do it? To meet my long-term goal of paying debt off as quickly as possible, I would consider using at least 5% of my monthly income to put towards those payments. The percentage I put towards those payments may very likely be increased based on my budget and what my budget would allow me to do. To minimize my future income tax, I would use a 401k program through my work. I would put money into a Roth IRA, and I would track my success rate yearly. To minimize the income taxes in the future, I would participate in saving immediately by using the company-offered 401k plan. Investing, I would invest in my Roth IRA, which would start saving me money and reduce my future taxes. As I said before, I will track my success to make sure my plan is working. Some electronic payments are debit cards, credit cards, online mobile payments, store-valued prepaid cards, and smart cards. Debit cards would work best for me personally because I like to know that things are immediately paid for and I tend to spend cash faster than I'm willing to swipe my own card. I would use a credit cards for very few things in order to build my credit. An online mobile payment would be like using your card online for online shopping, and store-value prepaid cards would be things such as gift cards. So the difference between term interest cost, simple interest, add-on, and open-end credit. Interest cost is the cumulative sum of the amount of interest paid on a loan by a borrower. This amount should include any points paid to reduce the interest rate on a loan. Term is smaller monthly payments, but the longer the term is, the more you pay in interest charges. Simple interest is interest computed on principal only and without compounding. It is just the dollar cost of borrowing money. Interest equals principal times rate of interest times time. Add-on is interest calculated on the full amount of the original principal, no matter how frequently you make the payments. The longer you pay back the loan, the more interest you will pay. Open-end credit is required to let the consumers know how the charge and APR will affect their costs. They must explain how to calculate the financial charge information which charges on your credit account to begin to accrue. For myself, financially, I would try to avoid all loans with the exception of home and possibly a car loan. I think that term would be the best for me because I would have a lower required payment and hopefully there would be no penalty for paying early, meaning as my income increases, I would pay off the loan faster. So, would I purchase a hybrid car, or would I purchase it or lease it? Personally, a hybrid car is not worth it to me financially, and they are not the best choice for me. I learned from Mr. Teeger, the speaker from Toyota in Cherokee County, that if you do happen to buy a hybrid car, to get it from Toyota because they are the ones who get the original parts for the hybrid cars. If I were in the market looking for a car, I would email dealerships to get the estimate and then go and buy a used car. Leasing can make you spend more money in the long run, and I do not want to have to take that risk. So I'm going to compare the cost of renting and buying, which would be better for me, and I will calculate the cost of renting and buying a modest house in my area. I think if I'm unsure as to how long I'll be in the area, that renting would be a better option for myself. Once I know that I would be in that specific area for at least 5 years or more, I would consider buying and building my equity. Renting would not be as binding as buying. The average renting price in Canton, Georgia is $1,419 a month, versus the buying average cost in Canton, Georgia is $1,555 a month plus the interest. So buying, leasing, renting, make and model of the car, and the type of insurance and the amount of coverage that I would use. I would personally continue to buy cars, as that's what my family has done from now, ever since we've needed cars. I would avoid leasing. I would purchase cars where maintenance is easily accessible and the cars would be used, preferably 3 to 5 years old with low mileage. I would buy a 2009 Mercury Mariner and for this vehicle I would carry full coverage including roadside service assistance and $500,000 in liability. So the different insurances are HMO, PPO, and POS. HMO is Health Maintenance Organization Managed Care. It's a prepaid health plan with primary care physicians. Contracts would be with specific care providers, fixed prepaid monthly premiums, and the focus is on prevention and wellness with basic and supplemental services. A PPO is preferred provider organization. You have several providers to choose from. It's more expensive than HMO, but you have more choices and fewer restrictions than a HMO. If you go to a non-PPO provider, you do have to pay more though. A POS is a point of service. It combines features of PPO and HMO. It's like a hybrid or open-ended HMO. I would personally prefer using a PPO plan because it gives me access to more providers to choose from. However, if my job provides benefits, I understand that I may not have the choice of my insurance plan. The difference between term and whole life insurance, as stated in the little graph that's in the top right-hand corner, is term insurance is affordable, convertible, and temporary, whereas whole insurance is cash value, you have loanability, and it's a permanent plan. A term policy is set for 20, 30, or 40 years, and it's only in case you pass away. A whole life insurance policy is better to get it at a young age. It can be a savings account. You can pay them a certain amount of money each month. You will get all the money that you put towards it. You can actually cash the money that's paid towards the policy, and it protects someone who depends on you from financial loss due to death. It has many, many benefits within it. Whole life policy is what I would choose for my sake, just because it would protect myself and my family if something were to happen to me. I would have permanent coverage with whole life insurance, and that sounds more appealing to me in my personal opinion in my situation that I'm currently in. So some factors that you should consider before you invest with your alternatives would be desired return, risk, the amount of investment, and tax implications. All of these are what you should consider before you do anything involving investment alternatives. You should look into each one and figure out the specific amounts that come with each thing and figure out what risk you would have just to be safe so you know exactly what's going on before you invest. This is number 12 and 13 from the chapters. If I inherited $50,000 and could only invest the money, what would I invest it in, how much for each investment, and why? So if I were personally to invest $50,000 and I could only invest it, I would invest the money in a growth mutual fund that has a 10-year track record of returning anywhere between 8 to 13%. I would invest all of the $50,000. Because of my age, I would invest it all because there's plenty of time to use the market to my advantage. So if something bad did happen, it wouldn't affect me as bad because I have time to make up for it. The market will help me out later in life because I have multiple years to use, and I'm not later in life where I'd lose a lot and it would truly hurt me. So from chapter 14, explain the difference in the types of IRAs and at this time which would be more beneficial to myself. So a simplified employee pension provides business owners with a simplified method to contribute towards their employees' retirement as well as their own retirement savings. An education IRA is a savings plan for higher education. Parents and guardians are allowed to make non-deductible contributions to it for a child under the age of 18. A rollover IRA is a special type of traditional individual retirement account into which employees can transfer assets from their former employer's retirement plan when they change jobs or retire. It maintains the tax-deferred status of those assets. A Roth IRA is a retirement plan under the U.S. law that is not taxed, provides tax reduction on limited amount of savings for retirement. A regular IRA allows individuals to direct pre-tax income towards investments that can grow tax deferred. There's no capital gains or dividend income is taxed until it is withdrawn. A spousal IRA is individual retirement account that allows a working spouse to contribute to a non-working spouse's retirement savings. For me personally, I would participate in a simplified employee pension plan along with a Roth IRA. The simplified employee pension plan, again, would allow me, for my employer, to contribute towards my retirement as well as my retirement savings. So they would help me with my retirement plan. They would allow me to gain more money in the future that I'm not able to gain currently by myself. And again, the Roth IRA that I would choose is the retirement plan that is not taxed and provides tax reduction on the amount of savings for retirement. So I would be able to put money in that is not taxed and would not be taxed whenever I get it out or whenever I use it whenever I retire. So that just makes more sense to me because I would not have to pay taxes on that money that I'm saving up for retirement. So overall, this course has taught me a lot about how to manage my money and prepare myself financially for the present and the future. I now know how to budget, where to find information on insurance, understand taxes, and so much more. I have learned that these things are all a necessity to being successful in the world we live in today. I'm very grateful for Miss Moss and the information she has instilled in me so that I am now able to put these things to use. I also just want to let everyone know that this class has been one that is necessary for everyone that's basically living in the world. Everyone needs to understand what kind of insurance to get, the benefits, the advantages, the disadvantages of every type of insurance, every type of retirement plan, every type of investment. Those are the things that are necessary to have a successful life. If you don't know these things, then you aren't going to be successful and you're not going to be able to live a comfortable life that you want to live. A key point that I learned in this class was that it's not how much you make, it's how much you save. So if you're making $30,000 but you're saving as much as you can of it, you're going to be better off than someone who's making $1 million and spending that whole $1 million. So it's not necessarily the money that you're bringing in on your paychecks from your job. It's how much you are saving and how well you're sticking to your budget, because I believe that a budget is the most important thing that I've learned from this class, because it shows you if you stick to that budget, you will be successful. You will save up the money that you have been wanting to save, and you can live comfortably and you'll have that wiggle room. And if you do need to change your budget, I learned that it is okay. But as long as you stick to your budget as closely as possible, that you will be well off and that you will have the life that you want to live. So my citations and my reference page. My father is Michael Stephen Wheeler Jr. He's the Director of Finance for HCA Healthcare in Brentwood. He actually helped me understand some things. So if I had questions and I wasn't able to ask Miss Moss because I was at home here in Nashville, I would actually ask my dad, or I would call him and tell him, hey Dad, guess what I learned in these classes? So my dad actually helped me with this project, and he looked over it for me and he was proud because he saw how much I'd learned and how that I'm finally understanding all this important information. I learned a lot from all of our speakers that came in, but one that really stood out to me was Mr. Trieger from Toyota dealership of Cherokee County. My brother actually purchased a hybrid car not too long ago, and I never really understood why, or I never understood why that was the best fit for him, because personally that's not my best fit. And I learned a lot from him with him working for Toyota and then being the best dealer for hybrid cars. He actually told us personally that he would not even pick a hybrid car just because he doesn't think it's the best choice. So that was interesting for me to learn and to get his take on his personal opinion on cars and insurance and how to go about purchasing a car and how to get the best price. Because often, a lot of times, people think that people who work in dealerships are often trying to scam you or get the most money out of you so that they can make a big sale, when in reality they're willing to help you and they're willing to work with you. All you have to do is ask for it. You just have to email people and get discounts on different cars and see who can give you the best rate for a car, and you can go in and you can meet with them and they will work with you. They're not out to get you, that they are truly willing to help you. So I learned a lot from him along with all the other speakers. He's just one that really stood out to me that I wanted to reference in my presentation. But I really hope that this presentation taught a lot of people what I learned. And again, I want to thank Ms. Moss for teaching me everything that we learned within this class. But that is my final presentation, and I appreciate everyone who contributed to helping me gain knowledge in this field.